Following multiple lies from the Labour Party and new evidence against Keir Starmer, the police are now investigating the Labour leader over rule breaking during lockdown. Something about glass houses and throwing stones, right? This is Keir Starmer and Angela Rayner. We've had so many stories about partygate, cakegate, and now beergate, and we're all sick and tired of it. That's all the media have been talking about, with the all push and push and push. First they went after Boris Johnson, and then they did the job. Now they're going after Starmer. So I'm not going to focus on the media part of it. I'm focusing on Starmer. As someone myself who agreed that the rules were ridiculous. The lockdown rules were ridiculous. But this is not about lockdown rules. This is about hypocrisy, double standards, and the fact that they don't really care, but then they pretend that we, the rest of the country, should follow these restrictions. The latest we now have is the Durham police have come out to say that following the receipt of significant new evidence and information over the recent days, we have now reviewed that position, and now following the conclusion of the pre-election period, we can confirm that an investigation into potential breaches of the regulations is now underway. So essentially, it's about Starmer having beer, having food, 30 pounds? For 30 people, I believe, worth of curry. And we then found out apparently Angela Rayner was there. Apparently, they said she wasn't there. And we even had, the last couple of days, Sadiq Khan going on TV saying nonsensical stories about the difference between beergate and partygate.
What is the difference between beer and curry for 30 people between meetings in the same room in a Durham office and a birthday cake for 30 people in the cabinet room in 10 Downing Street between meetings?
Okay, so on one occasion you've got the rule maker being the rule breaker. You've also got somebody who's done it on more than one occasion. You've got a situation where karaoke machine and singing is taking place. You've got a time where you're asking people to make massive sacrifices, but it clearly isn't a work occasion because we've seen the pictures.
All right, so clearly that was pre-planned. He knew exactly what he was going to say, but he didn't answer the question, did he? Because he started talking about, one difference is multiple occasions. Okay. The question that Tom asked was, it's like the exact difference between beer and curry for 30 people and cake for 30 people. And then I started talking about how the position of power isn't Starmer the government in waiting.
Right, forget all the other occasions. I've asked you the difference between those two specific events.
I've given you 6 examples of a difference.
You're talking about other events.
Well, okay. Example 1, more than one event. Right, that's one difference.
I'm asking you about two of the same events. 30 people in a room, curry and beer. 30 people in a cabinet.
How are these people lawyers? How? Starmer, Sadiq Khan, these guys studied law, practiced law. It's absolutely astonishing. Like, this is the same Keir Starmer who, ages ago, when Partygate was happening, was saying that if the Prime Minister gets fined, he should resign. So does that mean that if he gets fined now, he's going to have to resign? Even before that, he said, just when the investigation started into Boris Johnson, the fact that investigation started, Boris needs to resign. Well, now investigation started into Keir Starmer. Maybe he should resign now too, right?
Have decided that it's serious enough and flagrant enough for them to investigate. It's the worst possible outcome for the Prime Minister. And frankly, some of his cabinet now need to look themselves in the mirror and ask themselves why they're still supporting this Prime Minister. There's a Metropolitan Police investigation into the goings-on in Downing Street, and it's time that some of those cabinet members spoke out and said we're not tolerating.
It's absolutely fascinating. So if that were the case, then that means we have to say to the shadow cabinet members, look yourself in the mirror. And let's just bring down the tone, guys. Let's go to the political editor of the channel, Peter Barnes, and ask him exactly what's going on with this whole chaotic stories of gates and beer gates and party gates, and now we're going to have, beer Starmer gates. Yeah, let's go. All right, we're joined by our political editor, Peter Barnes. So, Beergate escalated before the local elections, and Starmer, for the past few months, was saying that, well, it's different because we haven't actually broken the rules, and having a cake in your birthday party for 10 minutes, that's worse. Now, investigation has started. What is the whole kind of view around it?
Oh, well, you are right now. It's interesting how this kind of came out of nowhere. I admire Richard Holden, who's the MP for Durham, the Conservative, who really contacted Durham Police to say, wait a minute, there's a little bit of a discrepancy here between what happened to Rishi and what happened to Keir Starmer. Now, what's really important is I don't think this has much to do with Boris, and it's to do with Rishi. And for those who don't know, when Rishi got his fine, it was literally because he turned up 10 minutes early to a cabinet meeting. You know, they always say it pays to be on time. This time, it really didn't. But yeah, so we're now going to see what Durham Police are going to do from here. I mean, given all the evidence that's come out now, like, you know, there's 30 people, 200 quid on a curry. It was at the time where they could have eaten outside. Then. And also, you know, it's mounting evidence. I will be absolutely staggered if he doesn't get a fine or something. I will be staggered.
It's going to be embarrassing if he gets fined, considering he said Boris has to resign.
In reality, it has to be a resignation issue. There's no way he can, after how he's gone after this issue and on such a kind of moral high horse, he's got to go. Like, you know, I've often said the thing in British politics that brings you down isn't the act itself. It's the hypocrisy around something that brings it down, that brings you down. Brits are quite forgiving when it comes to politicians, but usually because our expectations are incredibly low. Particularly, and I think it's one of the reasons Boris gets away with as much as he does. But one thing that the Brits don't like are hypocrites. And I think this is where Keir Starmer is going to really come undone. And it's not just Keir Starmer. We now have to start asking, is Angela Rayner under investigation from the police? Because she was at this event. Are there going to be multiple fines? Is it just Keir Starmer? The statement from the police is pretty vague at the minute. I think it's been deliberately vague, just to kind of give the police a little bit of cover to expand the investigation if they have to. But yeah, this is going to get very interesting for the Labour Party. I know, given local election results that have really not exactly popped, but they've not fizzled out. All of that could be very well just undone in a couple of weeks' time when we find out from this investigation.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Peter Barnes, our political editor. Well, I think that was spot on. It is absolutely weird now, and we're going to stop talking about this now because we have a lot more important news stories for you guys later tonight on this channel, and especially over the next couple of days. We are still trying to find Hunter Biden, so if you want to look for Hunter Biden with us on the channel, then subscribe and click on the bell next to it. That's the only way you get notified when we release a new video, because our videos are not really getting automatically recommended as much as before. Thanks again for watching. I'm Tousi, and we are the media.